All right, we're good. Can't hear you if you're talking, Chris.
Trying to see what we look like. It says offline.
I'm showing it online.
Can you drop the link in the chat or something? Oh wait, there's no chat.
Live now. Okay, there we go. All right, so you're not playing right now?
Hey, what's up, Barrel?
Or...
No, you want to do kind of what this was going over, what we're doing?
I just figured you could play. But
okay, sure.
I guess we'll just clip out all the rest of this right now. Anyway, for all those you on YouTube, when we upload this, I'm sure you're wondering why the tutorial stopped and all that kind of stuff. I had some health issues, ended up with some financial issues, partially related, and it just took a while to dig myself out of a hole. But now we're working with a group now, not just myself. So right over here is Corey. He's been a partner of mine in all kinds of software for, I don't know, since high school. So 20 almost years. And then down here is Kyle. He's going to do a little bit of software, but mostly for the game stuff. He's going to be doing art and whatnot. So Kyle's been doing the art the whole time, but now rather than being part-time or independent contractor, depending on where in the timeline of Bath with entertainment we're talking about, he's now on full-time with us. So we're excited to keep working on everything and pushing forward. As I mentioned on Steam, we're going to be finishing this project before we do anything else. I don't know what else to say other than that's where we're at. Sorry it took so long. I will be trying to get back to tutorials. They will not be quite as frequently as they were before, just because my schedule is much busier in order to fend off the financial issues that I came across before. Anyway, really excited to be back to it. And for the rest of the stream, we're going to be talking about Guilds of Delenar and where we want to be, what we're going to do. And where the project for sure is going, there's going to be lots of ideas. We are going to be rearranging some of what's currently there. Kind of everything is up for change. It's not just my project now, it's all of our projects. So anyway, if you guys want to say something, introduce yourselves, that would probably be good.
Hey, I'm just going to be playing the game. Yeah, we're just going to go through, see what we run into. I've already run into some issues, so I'll wait on discussing those. But I'm really good at breaking things, so.
Who are you? What do you like to do? What do you see improving? What do you see yourself wanting to improve on the game the most? Stuff like that.
Ease of use, easy to pick it up. Like I want things to be more in your face. I don't want to feel like you're joining the game, or you sit down to play a game and you immediately have to go to the internet to go look things up. So most things I feel like you should be able to figure out for the most part, or get in and test and see the most of the information you need. Obviously, there's always going to be spreadsheets and stuff out there to min-max things, but it's nice when most of that information is accurate in game. Yeah, and just the little bugs that annoy people, I'll try to be focusing on being super picky and ironing those out as much as I can.
Awesome.
Should I go now? All right. Kyle, yep. I'm the artist. I'm going to be trying to focus on actually kind of a lot of the same thing Corey brought up was stuff I'm kind of looking at, kind of small interactions and things. I want to make sure things feel nice, like when you click a button or drag a player to make a party or things like that. Don't want it to feel clunky. You want it to feel good. Trying to figure out little changes in things, even just little user interface and button changes. If I think I make them feel a bit better, that'd be great.
Awesome. All right, Corey, if you want to start streaming.
Yep.
You already are, but if you want to start.
Yeah, so I'm here in the character screen. When I'm selecting the race, something is these are just kind of locking up a little bit when I'm swapping, or at least initially they were.
Yeah.
Elves and dwarves can't be, or goblins can't be male or female.
No, because there's not art in yet for them. I think we have art for some races.
I think there's a few
For
female
females?
goblin.
Huh? Yeah, I don't really 100% remember. I'll be honest. I can look right now. Actually, that's something I can do. One sec. It's really we have a lot of built-up art that I just haven't been able to get in the game. So that's one thing. At times, I had to stop and move away from it, and then I haven't had time to get back to it. It's a relatively large game for one person to manage. I understand that other people somewhere somehow have been able to do it, but for me, I was never able to quite manage all of the parts all by myself, which is why it's nice to have a team. Let's see, Goblin. I only see Goblin male currently. Dwarf. I'm only currently seeing male up on box.
Okay, let me take a look.
Doesn't mean they don't exist, mind you. I'm just saying.
So just looking at this, my thoughts, I'm going to jump into it. Difficulty, we probably want to make this, I mean, that's fine. But we probably want to have a little thing that swaps out here, kind of explaining what to expect on easy, normal, hard, or very hard. It's
like on hover?
Huh?
Like on hover, or
no, like if I select this, right, I may have like a paragraph down here that just says hard. Typically, if you play games like this or that, this is the difficulty that's good for you. We have the space over here.
So like a tooltip, or you want it out there constantly?
No, just out there constantly. Whatever difficulty you're playing on, just describe that difficulty. Like easy, I'm just interested in the story and getting to the end of the game type of thing. You know, normal is...
I see. Not part of the drop down, but a space for that information on.
Yep.
Yes. I agree with all of it, actually. If we wanted to put a tooltip in, that's fine too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the space right now for this. I think it would just make sense to have a little paragraph explaining that. The guild icon, maybe we move that to the top. Not a big deal there, though. We have plenty of space. Don't have to worry about that. New game menu, edit. Locking up a bit. Okay, so I can edit appearance.
Yeah, I can. The locking up is essentially just needs to be threaded, but some stuff can't be threaded, so I have to check on whether that can or not be. I'll have to check. If not, then it needs to be preloaded, which it probably isn't. Let's see. So we want a difficulty explanation.
These cycling around would be nice. Like you get to the end and it goes back to the first one.
Yeah, we've always just differed on opinion on that one.
Okay.
So we'll have to.
We'll duke it out.
You may want to color his eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows.
I didn't think about that.
I think are always one color right now.
Yeah, I mean, on all the other races it makes sense, but the goblin's a little bit special.
Well, no, eyebrows should be colorable separately.
Yes, but the goblin doesn't have eyebrows, so his
For instance,
eyebrows...
this weird-looking dude has darker eyebrows and lighter hair.
Oh, Barrel says cycling around is definitely preferred, so for what that?
Hey, plus 1 point for that one. Yeah. I'm open to change. I'm just saying.
If you cycle, though, you've got to put like a number, I feel like, in most cases. Otherwise, you don't really know when you cycled, right? So like if hair top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
Sure. I mean, that would be at least part of my problem with cycling around is that I don't like not knowing that I cycled around. But that 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and then back to 1, I can handle that.
I like how you guys did the sides of the haircuts and stuff. I don't know that I've really seen that anywhere else. And they all look pretty good as well.
We did it because it's a technical limitation of how we're getting them on there. So it kind of needed to be 2. Also, you couldn't really have a mohawk with sideburns if unless you just create each one. So it just was multiple different ways. We need more hairdos. I think we actually have a few more hairdos to put up.
And you guys have some wild hairstyle colors too. It's pretty cool.
Well, we wanted to cover anybody who wanted
Radioactive goblin
blue
there.
hair or whatever.
Yeah, I'm making them crazy looking. Trying to break things.
Well,
All right.
I have characters like gnomes that have green hair and WoW, right? So just throwing that out there. Like we were trying to make sure that the options were covered.
Yeah. So here I just see a cancel button. I would like a save or a done. Personally, I would get probably the.
Sure, it wouldn't do anything because as you can see on the right, it's currently there.
I know. I just feel better as a user, right? I'm not left. I don't get to the bottom and I'm not confused. Like, wait, what do I do? Is it going to save it? Is it going to revert?
If it just said closed, do you think that would be better?
I think done. If we're going to put a button,
yeah.
we might as well make it.
And if I hit cancel, does it revert?
I believe so. Hit it.
Oh, I misunderstood what the button did. Okay, yeah.
I gotta make him crazy looking again. I'll make him a different crazy looking. I like that crazy haircut. Got green eyebrows and red hair, Kyle.
Pretty intense. Looks like a graphical bug almost.
Cool. So these yeah,
like they need some kind of background of some sort, or a stroke around them, or something.
What does?
Around
that warrior icon specifically.
Yeah, so like I like that it tells you kind of what you get and what to expect, but like at this point in the game, and I'm not sure how to solve this. I don't know what strength does. I don't know what dex does, right?
Yeah, but you do. I mean, in general, look, if you've never played an RPG game, there's going to be some things that are just a little bit complicated, sure.
Yeah.
But to say that you don't know what strength in general is going to do.
I mean, we've got that big open space in the bottom left.
Sure, Beryl. Dexterity and agility are offensive and defensive stats. So you know how like every warrior, like warriors they need strength and stamina and maybe some agility. And then like a mage would want int and maybe some spirit and a little bit of stamina, and that kind of stuff. So it's really like 3 stats you want. Well, rogues only ever need 2 stats really, just agility and stam, essentially, and that's a problem in character design for me. Usually they only have 1. Well, that's actually not true. There's lots of games that have 2, like in the D&D world and whatnot. The most popular games typically just have 1 of the 2. That's true. But so agility is a defensive stat and dexterity is an offensive stat. So you would get like crit rating from dexterity, but you would get dodge and whatnot from agility. And again, so one of the things that specifically, and I'm saying this because I know you've played WoW, is like rogue balancing has always been a problem for Blizzard, and that's because they only need 2 stats, and basically every other class needs 3 stats. So it's something. Oh, Warlock, that's the other one. You only ever need 2 stats with the Warlock too. So that's something that I'm trying to address by having the extra stat. Also, with the stats that we have, we are trying very hard to have more than one thing that each stat does, and we want your talent tree to affect those things based on which talent tree you went down. So, for instance, in the rogue trees, there will be one that may already be there. We'll get there in a second. But that agility starts to gain attack power, so it becomes both an offensive and defensive stat, but the dexterity is still The primary offensive stat for a rogue.
Good, Kyle. All right, so real quick, one last thing so I can move on. These, I think I can kind of get an idea where they're coming from. At least a guild master and officer, right? Like the first character is your guild master, the second ones would be officers after that. It would be nice to have like a little tooltip of like where they're coming from potentially.
Where they're coming from.
Like this guy gets the guild master rank because he's the first character in the list or something right here, right? Like he is considered the leader of the group or something like that this first icon gets, or this first layout gets, or whatever. Like I said, those first ones aren't as important, but like these other ones, like immortal, like where is it coming from? Is that because he's goblin? Is that because he's a new character, or is it because he's a primary character?
It's because he's a primary character.
Okay,
I see what you're saying. So yeah, we definitely can come up with. We also probably could segment this. So maybe this first box shifts up a little bit, says Guildmaster above it, and then between this first and second box it says Officer.
There you go. Guildmaster, like a title of it, like up here. I think you can see my mouse, but a title that comes up, and then the Guildmaster icon, maybe you can hover over here, and then that could be cool. And then these are your officers. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to get started then.
Wait, hold on. Before you go to the next menu, I had something. I was trying to fix my mic.
I lost you, Kyle.
Yeah. I'm having technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yes.
God damn it. I can get my mic or webcam to work suddenly.
That's fine.
Okay, there we go. So we have that big space in the bottom left. What if we made that a context-sensitive menu that was more descriptive of whatever you're hovering over?
That could work.
What, Chris?
Because we have tooltips.
Tooltips? Oh, okay.
I don't want to necessarily have a unique area for something. I mean, we can talk more about it, but it's. I want people to get used to using the game as is to start with, and not. I want them to get used to the tooltips immediately because they're such a huge portion of the game, and they're only going to grow in importance.
Okay. We probably also want the ability to select which character is your guild leader. I mean, I know you can effectively.
Just make the first one your guild leader.
Okay.
There's just too much. That's a lot of programming for almost no benefit.
Okay.
Like if we label the one the top guild master, then that's.
In the stream, my video didn't come back up. Sorry, Corey.
No, you're still down. Trying to make sure that this will be recorded, so we don't have to take too intensive notes as well.
I'm just trying to get them into the repository so that we can easily find them and make the changes. A lot of these changes are going to take 10 seconds. Some of them will take much longer.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, it should be saving as well, so that's good. Cool. Anything else on this menu? Yeah, maybe use this area to explain exactly what strength, agility, dex, that stuff is. That's a potential. We have extra room for it. That'd be an easy thing, and I think that pretty much clears everything up on getting started.
So one thing I wanted to do here, just so you guys know, is allow you to select one or two traits for your characters. So we need space for that.
Okay. There's an edit. No, then we force them to go into the edit.
Races have racials. Right now they do not. What they do is have different stats they gain per level. So if you hover over Goblin, Corey, it should show. Okay, well that's Dwarf, but still. So
there's Goblin.
On every first level, it's Stam, Dex, and then Int, Agi, Dex, Agi, and then if you go to the Dwarf, it's different. And then you have Stam, Strength, Stam, Agi, Stam, Spirit. So obviously, Dwarves are very tanky. And then you're gonna have the Elves, yeah. So anyway, that's what that is.
Yeah, maybe here where the traits are listed out, maybe we click right here, and then it pops up a choose your trait, and then you can hover over and pick them.
Yeah, maybe. What do you think, Kyle?
Being able to pick your traits.
Well, how would you see picking the traits?
So if we had a third trait that we could have, but the player could pick it at this point.
I mean, I'd probably have. It'd be really awkward to fit that into that menu on the right there. So I'd want to put it on that open space on the left. And probably just like you click one of the boxes, and that's your active character, or your selected character. And then you're changing the traits on that character with a box on the left.
That is what I was thinking, Cal, but just to explain what Corey was trying to say, I think he's saying having a pop-up menu that you would select it from, not trying to fit it in that little space.
That could work.
You have like an empty box with a plus or something right there until you pick a trait, and then...
That could totally work.
Yeah, that's something that I would like to do. What do we think about having racial traits? I'm okay with that. That's a good idea, Beryl. I don't have a plan for that. I don't have notes on that, so I'll honestly
How many traits are there currently?
15.
About 15?
I mean, that's something that needs greatly expanded. It's a very quick thing to add. You can do one in probably 30, 40 minutes, and it adds tremendous variability to the game. But it's not something that I've been able to spend a whole lot of time on, unfortunately. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think having a racial gives you a little bit more reason to pick them and to build your characters around.
Yeah, the racial is going to have to be non-stat based, I think, because we already have stat differences between races. So.
Yeah, racials, maybe that's the only way you can get that trait then?
Maybe.
Potentially.
But as long as it stacks with stacks with other versions of it, then it doesn't have to be unique. So like if you said, oh, they have 1% chance to crit, and then there's another racial that has 1% chance to crit, as long as it's 2% chance to crit, that's okay also.
Right. Good with that.
Yeah, they could be unique. They could be less unique. I mean, we would have to get real into the weeds on that. And we can do that here. That's fine. Or we can just say, hey, we want to do racials.
Any plans? There are plans to expand classes as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
All right, well, I'm gonna start unless we want to go over anything else over here.
No, I would say that we need borders on some things, like the traits need a stroke or something. They're starting to blend in the background quite a bit.
They should kind of be standard icons potentially. Like what a trait is. It's a unique symbol. Like the class icons are very different. It'd be nice to see those cleaned up to be more of like a standard, like this is a class icon. Whatever that means.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they all right now have a weapon representing the class, like the standard weapon that class normally uses or attempts to.
I guess like a super simple version would be like when you see like a tooltip for WoW, it's a tooltip for WoW. Right, like it's like
you're talking about the border in the background.
It's like a unique, yes, I guess, a border, a background, and then you can have the icon inside of it. But like having a standard of like this is a class icon, I think will simplify things a little bit to newer people and have more direction. Potentially with the races as well. But the traits specifically, I think that would be a good way. Like if these are just standard badges that are there, I think you're right with having like a border or some kind of standard with them, I think is a good move. With these three elements personally, but
yeah, so something like the mage one, that center portion could be the icon, for instance, and then we'd have a border that matches warriors and priests, and the priest whole thing could really be the icon that just shrunk down
Mm-hmm.
inside the border. And the warrior one is a little bit more complex, but we'll have to think about that one. That's an interesting idea. I think that it might help. I think that a lot of this stuff ends up blending into the background, and that's a problem. So we'll have to find some way to not get them blended in the background.
All right.
You're talking about the traits specifically, or classes too? Now then, sorry, I'm still trying to understand a little bit what you mean.
We were talking about traits and classes. We started with traits, and then I was just saying classes would be good because these are very different. Looking at these three icons, there's not really anything to say like this is a class to me, right? They're so different. This one's a circle. This one
There's nothing the same about them.
is not really a shape. It's got swords and stuff sticking out over it. I guess it's kind of a circle to start with the sword sticking out. This one is like a square with something popping over it, right? Like there's not consistency to show like these are classes.
And then vice versa, when you not vice versa, as a segment, if you go to the race icons, they're at least all circle.
Yeah.
So there's at least some
Oh, I see what you're saying.
some semblance that that's what that is. Although we probably do need a standardized border again on those that says, hey, this is a race.
What do you think about putting them on a? If I change the graphics bit to, instead of being on a circle to be on like a flag, like it's you're representing your race, a little flag, and you just know if it's a flag, it's a race, and if it's a shield, it's a class. If it's a scroll, it's a trait. You know.
If it's a goblin, then they're gonna have like piles of gold on their flag, probably. Then.
Well, I was thinking the graphic that's already there, just on a flag. So to
Yeah.
have that circle background. So I would just take out that circle background and replace it with a flag.
Well, another issue that I'm having just looking at this currently, and I need to full screen it so I can see a little bit better. The details start to get lost. Like we almost have too much detail in some of these. Now I'm looking at it full screen, although maybe I'm not getting.
So to jump in with the flag thing, I don't know if the race is the right place for that because usually a flag is something you would pick, right?
Okay. What kind of?
I mean, I'll be honest. I like the flag idea.
I do like the flag idea, but for race, I don't know. To me, it's just.
Well, okay, so I mean, typically it'd be for a kingdom, sure, but I can understand where Kyle is going. Like, if you're a goblin, typically you're fighting for the goblins. If you're a dwarf, typically you're fighting for the dwarf. I just get where he's going. I
Me
understand
too.
where you're going to. I can see both sides.
There may be a better place for that, but I do like the idea.
Yeah. But yeah, icon cleanup I think is going to be a very
Like, here we go.
important
Right?
to
Like,
do.
there you go. That's class icon. Just throwing one out there, right? Like, that border right there, that's class, for example. Maybe that one is race.
All the guild icons are supposed to be on shields to be consistent.
They could be flags.
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, yeah, we can make
Flags
those
could be used there.
That actually makes a lot more sense now that I think about it.
3 minds are better than 2.
Oh, there you go. Beryl says use a flag for the
Yeah.
guild icon as well.
Okay, so maybe a shield for the race. Do we want to use a shield for the race or the classes? Which makes more sense?
I don't think we want to use necessarily something so definitive as that. I would just come with a standard shape and border. It doesn't have to be a thing. It can be whatever we want it to be.
Mhm.
For the class specifically. For the race, if we wanted to get very specific, maybe. But you're not going to come up with any one thing, I don't think, that denotes all classes, right? If you try to put them on a shield, it's like, why the fuck is a mage on a shield? Mind me, I have to bleep that out. But why is
language?
why is a mage on a shield? Or then if you put him on like a staff, you're like, why is the warrior on a staff? Like, what's going on here? Like, so I think if we just come up with, even if it's just a circle with a border, is probably headset. It's probably better than trying to come up with a single actual thing.
Yeah, I'm sure we can look around at different ideas and stuff that, class is pretty common, race is pretty common. There may be something that we can find that's more of a standard for that. But getting back to the traits, yeah, maybe they're like coins, right? Like I kind of almost get like a copper coin or something like that, or a bronze coin or something that these are going with. But anyway, some kind of consistency there. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
They're displayed awful small. There's not a lot of pixels to add to traits. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Probably want to go with square for traits then to maximize the amount of pixels we have since they're the smallest.
Just some border, I think, is probably the best for trait. It may only be a pixel or two wide.
Okay.
So few. I understand where you're going with Corey. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just when you get into the game, you'll see how small the space is for those. Got me a suntan.
Yeah, I was trying to find a burnt. But I guess there you go. Chris stayed at the beach too long.
Chris was at the beach too long. Chris stays away from the beach these days.
All right, here we go. Starting. Moving on.
Oh, man.
Well, that's why we're doing this, is so that we can.
So that hung up for a little while. Just to kind of talk through it. When you start, I love when things are responsive. If that start button kicks you to the next area and you sit here unloading, much preferred. That any hangups like that, or even forced.
I don't think it's going to be able to be seamless there.
Okay.
What we can do is put up I mean, you'll see that in like even very expensive AAA games.
Wait, what part?
It has to do with it's trying to compile out. Not compile is the wrong word, but it's trying to create art that is permanent in the system at that point. And to do that, you have to have access to your draw thread. And if you have access to your draw thread if you try to access a draw thread in a separate thread, then it leaves distortions in the image every time. And not always, but it can leave distortions in the image at any point in which it essentially tapped out. So
these are so cool. I like the starting of this game.
You can use a little bit of polish, I'm sure.
Yeah, I need to add speech bubbles for sure. It's hard to read some of that text.
Oh, yeah. Speech bubbles would be great, and who it's coming from, yeah. Because here it's like
touched up.
Yeah.
What hang up are you talking about? When you click the button to start, there was a hang up. I was looking at my notes when you did that.
Yep.
What about if we just display the background loading image, that preloading image, in the background of the main menu, and then you just hide everything but that until it loads the loading screen, and then just the loading bar will flicker in.
Yeah, that's very similar to what I was thinking of doing.
Okay, cool.
Regardless, I mean,
we can put a little load icon real quick, but no, yours is better, Kyle. So let me put that in. Yours is better there.
Minor, but I can't click from the head. Click and drag. I can only drag around on the text, which I went for the head to drag first, personally, just to see if it would.
Okay, give me a second. Let me get that one, and let me forget that one because that's a good one.
Question 2, when you're done, Chris.
Thanks for agreeing with me, Barrow. He agrees the head would be his first instinct.
Yeah.
So on tutorials, make head icon part of draggable or something like that. Yeah?
Yep.
I have a quick question about the text formatting. How difficult would it be to move the head into the box and have the text wrap around the head like you would with the float object in HTML?
I highly doubt that I'm going to spend that much time to get
Okay.
text to wrap around an arbitrary body.
I wasn't sure if it was maybe easy or hard. If it's hard, then never mind.
There is no CSS or anything.
I wasn't sure if there was a C# equivalent or something.
Not in...
I mean, maybe moving it up to the top and then having this guy's name. Like, I don't know who this guy is at this point, right? Maybe moving this up to the center and then...
Maybe I should design it.
Make his name or something.
Putting their name there. I don't know why his name's not there.
Okay.
I'll issue it for it.
Or maybe at the bottom, say like, you know, dash his name or whatever, regardless.
I feel like maybe I should just make a specific frame for when characters are talking and work that icon into the frame somehow. Like in the top left corner in WoW, how you have like the character symbol and then you have all their information, and then we just put the text directly below that.
I'd have to see what you're talking about.
Can't push talk at the same time. That top box just being the title and info about who's speaking, and then the text just goes below it. Something like that.
I don't know what you're referring to. I can't see your screen or anything.
Oh no, it's my webcam. I drew it out on a physical piece of paper.
Oh, you're not showing your webcam.
It's not? On my
No.
screen, it's showing my webcam.
No, you haven't been. Not for me. Is it for you, Chris?
In Discord?
I full screened it so I can't even see stuff right now. Hold on. In Discord, it's showing.
Yeah.
In the stream, it's not. I blame Corey.
Well, yeah. So because I don't see it.
You don't see my screen at all,
Look
even in
at,
Discord?
I just enabled it. Yeah, I don't see. I see the red background. So maybe turn off your camera, turn it back on.
Let me rejoin the call. Maybe that, or should I not do that? I don't know what's going on.
See what happens.
Is that working now for you, Corey?
No.
It's weird that it's working in Discord. It doesn't matter. Not a big deal. We'll get it fixed for next time.
Well, I wanted to show you the drawing.
Whatever. I can't see.
But yeah, it's something we can bring up and look at.
Well, Chris can see it at least, so hopefully he gets the idea and can.
It is over it a little bit. Putting it
It is
over
a little
more
bit.
would mean that I have to. I mean, guess we can put their name next to it. So if we put the name at the top and then maybe a topic, then we kind of have a section for the head to go next to, so I don't have to wrap text around it, and we can put the text below.
Yeah, you could do it on this side, you're saying, and then their name to the right. That'd be good too.
Well, it would be to the right, like all the way across, though.
Yeah.
Because these are text blocks. I'm not. The amount of work that would go into making that move around in our.
Yeah, I like that. Like put this up into the corner here, so it kind of is in the corner, and then have his name across the top as a title. Yeah.
Well, and then maybe so it could even be his name and then an actual title or a title, something, or his name could go below him, and
Yeah.
it could just be a title of the tutorial that goes across the top. Either way, something like that. Yes, Kyle.
Forgot that it flips my text, so I can't read anything.
Sorry.
Yeah, adding here something. All right, click and drag the screen to scroll. Okay. Maybe add that as like a task. I don't know, whatever. You know, like right click and drag, or use WASD to move around. Or the arrow keys, I think, too. Yeah. Probably WASD. Who uses the arrow keys? Does anybody?
You can bind them to whatever you want.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point. Do we want to have a previous and next button for the text dialogue?
What do you say, Kyle?
In the chat, Beryl asked if there is going to be a way to go back to the previous log of text. So like a next and previous for talking.
Not currently, at least. There isn't a way. The way the tutorials are done is it dismisses them. It doesn't actually know their order.
You need like a parent
Yeah.
to go back
That's
to.
something to think about, but currently it isn't there. What you would do is you can reset all the tutorials. That is a possibility, but it's not great. But I see what you're saying. It's something we'll have to put some thought into. That's a good thing to think about.
How do we feel about adding a background to the win condition optional quest thing at the top right? That would take up a lot of screen space, but it's a little hard to read that.
Yeah.
Yes, it needs to collapse.
Yep. Go in either up or to the right. I agree.
So it'd be like win conditions with a plus next to it. Then you would click that. That would expand down. Right now, there's no background because it takes up so much of your screen. And until I get it to collapse, then it's it's too big for a background. But yes, I need to get it collapsed, and then yes, at that point it can have a background because you can dismiss it.
Okay, cool. Do we want to put the time? Because you see January 1st in the year. Do we want to put that next to the date on the left? Because it shows like it's nighttime right now. I feel like those pieces of data should be next to each other.
Probably.
Yeah, probably put it like here and then move the money over or something. I forget you guys are delayed. You're not actually watching my screen, but where the money is, and then push it all to the right. You guys are like waiting. Hold on 10 seconds.
I do have to do that. A lot of times I'm just sitting here typing into the repository. I want to get all this down. We've already created 8 new issues, and some of those issues have multiple bullet points below them. So
I'm kind of leaning towards like chat and dialogue might come up where the chat is. Because moving this guy, I mean, I moved him around. Maybe not everybody will. Maybe the ideal spot to have it is up there, but being able to move it around, like I may have it over where I'm supposed to go and not see the arrow, you know? I guess that could be with anything, but right now at least, just a thought on those.
we absolutely can lock windows into locations if we want to. I'm not a big fan. If you're going to allow windows to be dragged, I think you should allow windows to be dragged, but that's my 2 cents on it. But we can definitely go through that.
Kyle, there we go. Why are you being difficult, Kyle? I couldn't click on you. All right, so let's see where the top ones. Level 7.
Yeah. So those are your predefined characters that can't leave.
Okay.
So something that needs to be done on them, and I'll start writing it now, is they need to have gear that can't leave that character, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like they're not
Soulbound
able-
gear.
Yeah, soulbound gear. Thank you. Duh. What's the trait called? Is it Town Hero? Is that what it's called? Hometown Hero.
Trying to see it.
There you go.
After seeing it, I think I should add lighting to the guild house in terms of all those rooms you
There we
can't
go.
use. Just make them dark. Like there's no
Hometown
light
hero.
in them.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. And then the ones that are usable but you haven't purchased yet, maybe something. I don't know. I have to think. On how
Half
to-
as dark. Like one's 50.
Maybe have a big plus symbol on them, and then it would open up the upgrade menu.
Sorry, where?
That. So let's say go to the upgrade menu. It's in the top center of where you're at. So right now you can add the infirmary, for instance. So on the location where the infirmary would be, it would maybe have a big plus, and if you click that, it would open this menu, and then maybe even highlight the infirmary section.
Yeah. Or kind
Can
of
we
filter
highlight a
out.
room as a
Huh?
whole? Can we highlight a room as a whole? Just like when you hover over it, so you know you can click on the room itself to upgrade?
Yes.
Do you want me to make a frame to do over it? Because I think that green outline you have would look really weird because of how things line up.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like, because when I hover over rooms, I like that it kind of tells you what you do, but it doesn't like having a white highlight or like a
Yeah.
pop up of like
No, you're
I
actually
hovered
right.
over this room.
Yep.
I think maybe I should just make an image.
That would be
that you
huge.
put
I think
over it.
that would make it feel so much better.
I think I'll just make a couple images, one for the big room, one for the small room, and one for the hallway. Hallway doesn't really need it.
I mean, I can just use the, at least to start with. Now we can do lots of things as time goes, but I can just use the character highlight code. You know how like when you
Yeah.
have a character and it
So
outlines them.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm a little worried about. That's going to look really weird because I have a lot of odd overlap because it's trying to look 3D and 2D space. So you won't actually see the highlight on the
Okay,
right
well-
bottom sides of the bedroom because it's covered by other art.
I could also just lighten the file, add color to the file, to the
That could
image
work.
that's being displayed as
Mhm.
well. I'm not saying those are the like finest, finished, polished.
It's a
versions.
start. May give us other ideas, but yeah, I like that. Because like right now, I just moved her in to get some extra experience. If I didn't know that until later, I'd feel like, man, I missed out on that extra experience I could have been getting. What else? Sparrow said, I think we missed about the tutorial being like a building or a help somewhere that you can get to, maybe previous tutorials or something, and list them out potentially. And then if they're checked off, maybe just show that it was checked off and just have like a list of like quests, you know?
That's definitely something we can build.
I know when I play games, typically I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Okay, X, 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 go. I want to get into the battle and see if I like this game initially.
Also, I realized we should probably make a better way to make that stash more noticeable because I completely forgot that was there until just now I saw it. The chest. Yeah, right there. I did not even notice that the whole time we were staring at this menu. I forgot about it.
Okay.
Do we maybe want to make it just have a glow until the first time you open it? I could use the character glow.
Pretty sure that there's a tutorial that tells you about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you don't need that yet. It's okay to be hidden right now, I think. We're not at that point. Because you're not using it. There's nothing to put in it. We don't have anything in there for them. Unless there were to be something in there that we wanted them to get when they bought a guild or something. But
you know, what if your heroes start with like no equipment and their equipment's in there to make you learn that you have a stash, so you use the stash to equip them all?
No,
and then you also
again, we're stopping people and making them do tutorials
okay, yeah.
at the beginning of the game.
I'm not like I was saying, I want to get into the game personally. So I like that I'm already equipped with good enough gear to go.
If not a tutorial on the first time something enters it, we should pop up a tutorial for that. Stuff goes into your stash automatically when your characters come back and it's in their party inventory. So it's definitely something that we can do. That plus icon needs to be better. It just does. It's too plain. That's denoting
this one that's that's blinking.
Mm-hmm. Something else. We need to maybe say.
I don't mind it.
I have an idea to make it look better. I can do that. That's real quick.
Maybe have it more blocky instead of rounded.
Did I make that plus? I'm wondering if I have the art already.
Don't know. Unfortunately, there's some things I just can't remember where we finished off on. So, also, if you click the plus, it probably should take you to the screen.
Yeah, I don't think it did. No, it just takes you to the. Because what can you put in? Stats, I assume, or no? Stats are automatically put in, right? You don't have control over stats in this game.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, it'd really just be talents. Do you really? Are we? I assume the first fights really don't care if you have talents or not in, right?
No, they don't. I mean, if you're
playing on difficult,
is almost mind-numbingly easy. Even with just your original 3 characters, you don't even have to have a party of 5, and it's a joke.
Ruthless seems really strong.
What does it do? Is it 2% damage? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Which one is that?
So the goal for the talent points is to be somewhere between 1 and 3% on most things of total damage. So when something says 5%, it's not going to be 5% of the
5% of that. Yeah, that ability.
Each talent point hopefully will make your character between 1 and 3% more powerful. So when it's on like a specific ability, like Power Strike, well, you're not using Power Strike every attack, therefore, it's not 5% actual damage, for instance. So that's kind of where the goals are. Because by the time you put in, 50 talent points, if you're twice as strong as you were in that, hopefully you put them in some cohesive manner. But if you did, then what you're doing, you're twice as strong as you would be without them, for instance.
How do we feel about the talent icons in general, like the art for them? They kind of readable, make sense for the content?
Yeah, I think so. The outline, the border, I think can get better
What do you mean with the that
potentially,
photo?
but maybe just the background. I don't know. Like I think they're fine. I don't
Okay, cool.
I don't have a huge issue with them.
Yeah.
Even looking at like the border matches the outline of this box too, and the arrows. I think it's fine. Yeah. Maybe the text is the worst part of this.
We are definitely going to change out the text, so that's
Having those like, maybe like onslaught is red, so it'd be red with like a, I don't know,
the
cool
more
design
colors
up
you
there in the
add,
title.
the less clean things get.
Huh?
I mean, we could tint the backgrounds of the tree, but that's probably the most we would want to do.
Yeah, well, the backgrounds, eventually they'll all have their own special headset mount. Eventually, hopefully, they'll all have their own background art for every talent tree.
Kyle, where do you want to put your talents? Do you know? You're the healer. You're gonna keep us alive.
One in each of those holy. That's
One in
generally
each
what
of
I
them?
do when I start a priest, yeah, just
Like
one in
the
each.
worst way you could possibly put those points in.
Is that really the worst way you can do it?
Yeah,
You're not
that's
holding towards anything.
pretty bad.
I put them all on the right because I want to get to the next
This one?
talent. No. In holy, on the right tree because I want the second talent point, which gives you essentially hot.
Okay, then yeah, all in that one. Let's do that.
So the regenerate, that one right there that I'm on.
That's what I would want. Yeah.
All right, Kyle, you don't get a choice.
Plus, that's giving you a hot. So, one thing that I find when I'm playing this game is that I try hard not to blow all my mana right away because you have some longer things like the dungeon where you're going to have multiple fights without being able to get done. So throwing on anything that does a hot, including that heal now does a hot. So your basic heal now does a hot because of the talents you just put in, and then you have this regenerate. So you can put these hots out and just not have to always be casting, and you can keep yourself, a little bit better off. As that's the whole point for hots.
So I don't know what that spell does really. It's not very descriptive to me right now. Regenerate heals each turn for 3 turns.
Does this give you access to? Oh, don't. Never mind. Actually, don't.
So we're going to be taking. I have a new tooltip set up that we're going to be taking. It'll be more powerful than this one is currently. So it'll say something like regenerate heals 15 health each turn for 3 turns. But I don't have when I wrote this tooltip engine for the talents, it didn't have all those features, and I've since been screwing around with one, and it's gotten better. That code will get ported over here.
So is that like to all your party members, or is that an additional to where you have hots out already?
No, it's regrowth. Not regrowth. It's rejuvenation.
It's an extra hot.
It's a hot.
Okay.
So like just adds an effect to the existing spell?
No.
No, the bottom one I mean?
It's a new spell. It's a new hot. Like let's say like you get like renew and then you have rejuve. So now you have 2 different hots you can use. Makes sense.
Okay.
To me.
Maybe we have a different background for new spells potentially for the tooltip, and maybe even a different border. So we have these silver borders for our talents. Maybe new spells should be gold.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Write that down.
I'm working on it.
I thought you'd like that
Something else
reference.
I just kind of noticed it's actually really throwing my brain off. Is the game is paused, but there's animation still going off.
So she's over there attacking.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Give me a second.
Yeah, Beryl agrees with the gold border on new spells. And Chris wants to do Frost. I think that's his favorite. So let's see.
They're all real powerful, except for, well, both Frost and Fire are pretty powerful, as long as you play them correctly. Arcane is something that we're going to really have to talk about. I have very differing ideas of what Arcane should do, and so we're going to have to make some kind of hard decisions there.
Yeah.
So obviously Fire is like heavy damage. The Frost Tree is more about control with a decent amount of damage. The Arcane Tree, we're going to have to pick a direction, like I said. So it can either be kind of a debuff tree, or it can be more of a battle mage tank tree.
Yeah, battle mage tanky for sure.
Man.
So we're going to have to kind of choose a decision. Well, I guess, I mean, it could be a little bit of both, really, but I think we probably should pick a direction for that tree and stick to it.
It would make a lot of sense to make it like a debuff buff tree for a battle mage doing kind of both, because now you hit harder when you hit them after you debuff them.
Well, the thing is that's going to get real overpowered if you're not careful giving them two things.
Yeah, in a long fight or one that you have to do like a lot of reses or something. You just have your one guy over there beating on the boss while everyone else is handling with the rest, and eventually he's just like...
It also means having to find something that they do tank-wise that is uniquely better than other tanks while not being overpowered. Because
magic resist.
You want to have a tank that doesn't do something special. Why have that class if it's just, oh, it's a mage that happens to tank?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily awesome. But if, for instance, they tank spell damage better than everybody else does, okay, you know. But we just have to be careful with that. We have to make sure we're planning out, because paladins can tank and warriors can tank, and rogues will even be able to be like a half tank. Insofar as you definitely would rather them being beat on than your mage typically, or your priest, unless your priest is cleric-y. So there's different ways to go there, but we'll have to get into that specifically more. But those are kind of my ideas on the Arcane Tree, and we can kind of get into the weeds maybe more a different day on that one. But
yep, we're coming up on the hour mark for streaming so far, just to keep us intact. We really haven't got any gameplay. We've been talking about the menu and little improvements, which I think is good.
But yeah, all right. Are you saying you want to move forward? Go for it. Move forward, Corey.
Yeah, we should probably move forward, I guess.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to. I don't know. We don't really have much direction on this, so it's kind of just an open-ended plan.
Yeah, I kind of want to get people to have an idea of what we're doing.
Okay.
And
where do you want your talents then, Chris?
We have not left them. Stupid headset. I don't know what all got hurt, but I want people to understand that we are working on it. We are thinking about what we're doing, and then they'll have the rationale for what we're doing.
Yeah. You want to improve Fireball, or do you want warming up?
I typically take warming up because I want Fire Blast.
All right. Here we go. Now we'll get into some combat. So we've got unpause.
Very last thing in that menu, I'm sorry, but I do want to bring it up. Is that away thing? How it says away when they're out? Would it be possible to just display their portrait in the background, but like at 50% dark? So you can kind of just at a glance tell who it is still just from the portrait?
Yes.
I feel like we need a border around them and maybe like a black background.
We'd have to shrink the head if we did that.
Okay. And then, yeah, then we could like overlay the top to more black and then have like a white away over the top of it or something, but...
Yeah, just that, like that face right now, imagine it 50% darker, like it's got a shadow on it, and then just the text away.
Yeah,
and it's fine, Kyle. We can definitely do that. Addressing the border. So, Kyle, I see no downside to what you're asking for. Therefore, I would say absolutely yes. Let's do that. The stupid headset is driving me insane.
Only you're hearing it. You're not cutting out for us, so.
I understand, but if I cut out mid-word, that's why. The border, the characters' heads do not have to sit in any border on this game. You'll find their hair like this.
Okay.
Maybe outside of something at some point. Yeah, I told you.
No, that makes sense. Yep. But that's fine. Even the graying out away, I think I like that.
Definitely. I'm gonna put that in right now.
Okay, that was the last thing I saw. We're good to move on now.
Yeah, and the health doesn't go to the end. The traits don't line up. I'm not sure if there's design decisions around it, but at least just pulling or discussing that right now.
I can't hear anything. I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said no, I was just saying there. I assume there's design decisions as to why these didn't go to the end, or closer to the end.
They can probably get closer.
And then
I
the
don't like
trait
it touching necessarily.
is kind of like starts off to the left. Potentially they're going to have a lot, so maybe we need more room for that. But
When they run out of space, the idea, and I don't think it does it, is to have a ... one, and then you hover over that and it shows them all.
okay.
Also, if you click on the character, they're down at the bottom. Bottom.
I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah, part of it is that they're not descriptive enough, right? So that's what I was talking about earlier with having the backgrounds. They blend in too much.
Yeah.
So we've got to make them blend less. Same thing with those. Those blend in too much. They need to be more specific since they're a very important part of the game.
I know only Chris can see it, but what if we just reorganize the card a little bit like this?
Oh, we can definitely reorganize the card. So, and we should.
Yeah.
So the name's at the top like that, over the portrait section.
I love it, Kyle.
Probably a good choice.
I know you can't see it.
Well, you can see it on Discord if you look.
No, I can't.
Yeah, that's why we're very confused. I'm not appearing in his Discord.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
That's
Do you have me disabled? Like if you click on my red thing there, does it have any options?
I can look at you specifically. Okay. Now it's all messed up.
there it is.
A bunch of
Oh!
Kyle.
Shit, but now we're all gone.
Oh, there we go. I had to click into you. All right, Kyle, catch me up.
Turn.
Like
Yeah, I think that's probably wise.
But
We're
okay,
gonna have to find more space in this game, and currently, like those, I think that those
Oh yeah.
that's the text dialogue I was talking
things are
about.
just too
Yeah, I
small.
like that.
We're definitely gonna have to find more space there.
All right, unpausing, and then I drag, right? Just drag the
Yep.
party to Cletus's house. Yep.
Is it lagging for you like that, or is that?
Yeah, I was lagging pretty hard. I think I was off of the screen somehow, and I've got.
Yeah, if you click off the screen, it does reduce the resources to the
Yeah.
game.
Cool, I can get a blue sword.
All right, hold on. Take a second.
All right. Pausing so I don't get punked.
The Cletus's house. So the house menu, going below that, much too plain. We're gonna have to do something there. I'm
Yeah,
not exactly sure what. I'm gonna need descriptions. Probably.
maybe like something that pops up from the house. I don't know that I like this being draggable, personally. I almost feel like this should be tied to the building. Right, because you're clicking on the building, and like I may be off over here, and I click down here, but then I go up here, and it's right next to it. I feel like if we have some kind of standard, but then I may be, on the top, I may be like right here when I go to it, and if it pops up above it, that'd be weird. So maybe from the center or something. That's my mix of thoughts.
I'm not trying to be rude, but that was very incoherent to me. So, like, I don't know what you're saying there.
So I would think that when you open this up, it would be nice to snap it to like a spot or like a speech bubble, for lack of a better idea, from the house, and then it pops up the quest information or the multiple quests you can do.
It showed little bubbles that were moving towards it.
So like if I moved it out here, it would have like bubbles going down to the right, or if I moved it to the other side, it would have bubbles going down to the left to the house.
Yeah.
That could work.
Also, I think these quests should probably pop off the side of the same menu instead of having their own menu.
These, yeah.
The quest should be attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what if it was something like that? Is that what you're saying? So like there's a little tiny bubble that when you get close, and then you can click it to open a big one, so it's like directly attached to the building.
Oh, like this one has its menu open? That's interesting.
Because I actually felt that a little bit too, like Corey was saying, it's a little discombobulated once you open the menu, and if you use WASD to move around, like you're accessing a building that's not even on your screen anymore sometimes.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to be able to do that. In any game you can move your screen around, you want to be able to not. I mean, you don't want to have to be looking at the building to be seeing the menu necessarily.
No, I think attaching this is great. So like when I click on this one, it would pop out something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So that they're linked. And that way, if you close the house menu, the quest menu would also close. If you close the quest menu, maybe the house menu should close. We'll have to talk on that specifically.
Yeah, we'll have to mess around with that.
Right now, I'm thinking we want to close both of them on either, but that's my initial thought, and it doesn't happen now. So then looking at the quest menu, I don't like how thin they are. They need to get wider so that we can fit information better in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beryl says the white is hard to read on the background. Yeah, if it's a lighter background, maybe we go with black.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see what happens when we put the new font in. I don't want to make too many decisions on font related things.
Yeah, that new font's gonna be nice.
But yes, I hear you, Beryl, 100%. Something has to change. Something's got to give, especially because the description text is literally almost the same as the color of the background. That's dumb. That was a bad part of my choice. I don't know what I was thinking.
Do you keep in mind that the new font does not have a shadow on it right now? I can add one if we decide we want it.
Right. No, I know.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just why I don't want to make any hard decisions on fonts until we get the new font in, because if we spend time on that, we're potentially wasting it completely.
So the fonts will get better. We're not sure how exactly then yet.
Yes, everywhere there's text needs to get better. It's just it doesn't even feel a part of things properly. Like I don't know.
Like here, this one, like the H is taking a vacation or something on short.
That's what I'm talking about. But yes, that's bad too. I mean, like in most menus, it just doesn't feel like one cohesive menu. It feels like little pieces of different parts in a menu. Like it's just not polished enough.
This whole menu right here you're talking about?
Yeah, so like even like rewards, right? That should probably be. It could either be a piece of art.
Yeah.
And it probably needs like a line that goes underneath it to delineate it. Little things. When you hover over that head that Corey's hovering over, that probably should have a hover, to be honest. So little things definitely need to be fixed.
It would be cool if I could open up his character panel. This is just, I think right now as I'm thinking of it, but if I clicked on him to like open up his character panel with his abilities or something.
So I'm torn on that. I don't know. There's two ways to go about it. One is the mob's information is something you have to discover on your own.
Yep.
And the other is that you give them all the information.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards giving the information since they're here already.
Exact opposite way.
So okay. I can see
information.
I can see leaving them blank.
I'm open to either. I'm not shutting that down. I'm saying there are two philosophies, and we're gonna have to pick one and stay consistent.
Yeah. No, I'm good with that as well. I was leaning more towards the idea that we wanted to give them everything in a sense, but not giving them. Yeah, looks like Beryl agrees. Not giving them information is better. Yeah. Once you fought a skeleton, you know going forward what they generally are.
Do we think we would ever want to display the information, such as before a boss fight?
No. Well, so if you're going, again, two philosophies. So if you're going the no information route, then it's a game about discoverability, which means the boss can't come out and one-shot you, right? That's not fair if you have a non-discoverable game. But if you have a discoverable game, then the boss can come out and one-shot you because you should have read about the boss, right? So it just depends on what kind of game we're going for, and I am open to saying that anything that is here is up for discussion. There's nothing about this game that I won't discuss. It needs work and it has to be better.
I personally would strongly lean towards being able to see the boss, so that's more difficult, specifically to give you a reason to have more, like a wider variety of heroes, so that you have something to handle it.
I could see that in like certain situations potentially.
But I mean, what about if we had a question mark system where you don't know, and then we can pick on these instances you do know, such as a boss?
Possibly.
I like I say, I lean away from giving anything other than like health and mana and their name. That's where I want to be. I don't like games telling me about things. I want to learn about them. So if you put in a cool mechanic, it just can't be too strong. That's all. It has to be strong enough that it does something, obviously. So like maybe a boss has a healing aura, right? And so you go and you headset. You go and you hit the boss. You go and hit a character, and then maybe you didn't focus fire and you hit 3 different characters, and the next turn they're like full health. You're like, oh, damn, that's cool. Now I know I got to deal with that. But if I just read that off the boss, it's not nearly as much fun, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll have to see how it goes, but I think it's fine as is. Just throwing out ideas. Personally,
But that tooltip needs to get better because that tooltip was awful.
when you hover over a house, well, a few things I guess remind me. I still have something else before we go in, but when you hover over a house, it'd be nice if it highlighted the icon in front of it. I think.
Yes, we need to change those things also.
Yeah, or what? Improve that system, whatever, so that I know where I should be dragging to. Even hovering over the little icon would be nice to highlight the building too, in this sense. But just being improved on in general is good.
Yeah, I
Here,
like that over highlights the note icon. That's really good. I just put that in.
here the borders and stuff don't quite line up. I'm sure that's something that we'll fix, but if there's not an issue for that.
Wait.
Yeah. That I think I fixed that in the new tooltip system that I talked about earlier.
Okay.
That was
Or the bottom.
So that should be good, and if it's not, then I will continue putting work into it. But you're absolutely right. I'll put it in here anyway.
Barrel says you could do hint system where you don't tell much, but it just gives you a general hint, like like you might want to bring a fire mage or something. I don't know. There's some kind of hint system is you can like. Because I do like the concept of strategizing a little bit before you go in, so you can make the boss harder. Because I really like hard bosses. It's like then it feels really good when you beat them.
If there's hints that we're gonna put in, I'd probably put them into the storyline. I think that'd be a good way to tie it in.
Oh yeah.
To, UI hints. But that's just my thought. I mean, maybe. Definitely something that we can take a look at. But yeah, probably in the story portion if I got to pick at this exact second. Doesn't mean that won't change. And so little things like this, the reward section probably should be, in multiple columns nicer and
Yep.
maybe look like it has a nice little table going on and just more cohesive, less I don't know, discombobulated is the best
Yeah,
way.
I mean, this whole thing, I think turning it into more of like a quest menu with, just lots of little improvements. I think that's good. The rewards breaking apart from the text. Maybe the enemies versus rewards could be side by side or something.
Well, so we might not even be displaying the enemies anymore then, right?
No, we definitely display the enemies.
Oh,
Just how
But
much we
limited information. And maybe there'd be a skill that you can level up that gives you more information on enemies. There could be like a lore master skill. That based on your lore master skill in your party, you can see more or less information on your enemies at certain levels.
I like that a lot. I was trying to think about it.
for sure.
And there you go. Now it keeps everybody happy.
Potentially, definitely something we can discuss as we get into the weeds and clean up a lot of this crap. And we can take a look.
All right, let's get into battle.
Yeah, what, an hour and some odd time in?
I'm really slow at playing video games,
Hour
okay?
14. Probably want to work on that load bar just a little bit.
Yep. Cool, we got an arrow here. And then the text pops up over here. I would like to see this closer together, I think. Drawing your eye to the same area. Because a lot of times I'll miss the arrow. Because they're in different spots. And this is just a good example of that, I think. That
can we make the opacity go in and out like we did in hydraulic?
on the arrow? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like going in and out. So you visibility, less visible, more visible. Because that animation will draw your eye to it.
Yeah.
Or pulsing size, like grow 10%, then shrink 10% back and forth.
We find that issue. 'Cause I have a whole tutorial area because there were so many of them in Forge in a second.
Probably we can improve these a lot. I think you'd already mentioned that you want to do that anyway. The turn cards or whatever you want to call them.
Sure. Specifically, what's bothering you?
So I hover over different areas to see specific information. Like when I hover over the health and mana, I can just hover over the portrait and get the health and mana as well.
I didn't hear most of that. I apologize.
The circle in the bottom right. Yeah, that threw me off a little bit initially too, Beryl. He's asking what that was. That's your guild banner. So maybe that could be a flag and we could just position that a little bit better.
So, yes, the background should probably denote which guild you're dealing with as well, so we can remove that. And then the health does denote it, so green health is your characters, red health is your enemies, but it's not necessarily obvious enough.
Okay.
That's why I added that. I added the guild thing so that it was a little bit more descriptive with what I currently was doing, but I don't think that's the best route. I think we can...
Can we just color the card? Green color means your characters, red color means enemy?
Currently, yes.
I mean, instead of changing the health color. I personally like it when resources stay the same color.
So, I remember there was discussion about adding a guild color, and I think that would be a good place to put the guild color in. Otherwise, yes, green or red tinting the background would be fine.
Maybe in this portrait down here at the bottom, we could do the guild color.
That's always you, so it would never change.
Okay.
Because when the enemy guild is going, that UI isn't even there. Not that we can't do that. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily have a purpose. That's all.
Okay, so that's the icon for the new turn. Action points.
Is he sitting?
What?
I think the characters are sitting.
Yeah, those two are sitting down. Because they're not officers, they're lazy. So this is the wait functionality. When pressed, the character's turn will end. Any action points left when they wait. Push will reduce the time between this action and the next.
So the system is based off speed. Turns happen when every character's out of speed. Wait reduces the amount of speed they currently have.
They would go to the end of the line, basically. Or they could be pushed in somewhere else based on what their speed is.
Speed. They can go anywhere
Okay.
in there. So it depends on what every other character's speed is.
Yeah, they
And
stood
that's-
up.
For sure needs some work. So
So what is the yellow circle representing?
that is your melee range.
Okay, I like that.
If an enemy, I'm trying to remember now, maybe there and I just don't remember it. If an enemy is within that circle, does it highlight them so you know you can attack them after moving?
I am very sure it does, but let's double check it when we get
Okay.
there. Red circles are obviously action points, and then it shows the action points grayed out with what you're expected to have when you get to where you're going.
And so if I wanted to end here, I would just spacebar, and then yeah, we'll see if we get those back or not. So I like the white outline. I mean, at least it outlines, right? You know where the character is on the field. You know which character is going next. Would you want to change that to green, or would you want to change that at all?
I don't know. Let's get to where the enemies are there, and then I'll show you what I'm having an issue with. And see, I don't even know why I'm having an issue with it yet, so I'll have to. It was at the end of my last playthrough that I realized what I was having an issue with. So.
Turn 2. We can make the turns look cooler, potentially.
Put your mouse over one of the bad guys. That's right there.
That?
Not there. No. Down to where I put the big circle. This is where I'm having trouble knowing
Okay.
who is highlighted. I think it's because the enemies are highlighted white. I'm highlighted. The character you have is highlighted white, and this big ass circle is essentially white.
Okay.
And it just, whereas the information's there, it's not descript enough. So we should probably highlight red. I mean, that's dumb that I didn't.
Highlight the enemy red. Highlight you green.
You agree, and I think all of a sudden we're good. And then maybe have a floor icon as well for who is selected. But like in this case, you wouldn't see that anyway. You know, you maybe a tiny bit of it, but the goblin's in the way, you know? And that's going to happen. That's part of just having a multi-layered game.
Of what? Sorry, what are you talking about that I'm missing?
The floor icon that you mentioned before, like maybe we should put a floor icon under the character whose turn it is.
A floor icon?
A little circle that goes around your character.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, I got you. Sorry, the circle around his feet.
Floor icon.
All
Yes, the circle
right.
around his feet. Yeah.
Okay, so that's his range then, or what? Or that's his movement?
That is his movement.
Okay.
That's that guy's movement. So if you want to be able to stand outside of his movement, then you're good.
That's... I don't know that most... Do most games really give you that?
Some do, some don't. It all depends on how much strategy you want to allow the person to have within your game.
I like that. Right, because I could stand right outside of a melee guy and make him walk up to me and waste his whole turn. That's great.
You're going to have to stand outside of that and outside of his melee range.
Yep, I was just about to ask that.
Sure.
But, yes.
Would it be possible to add another red border outside the white border to show melee range? Or do we not even
Well,
notice white?
if you were to walk that full range, he can't attack after that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he's out of action points. Good call, Corey.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're right.
But this guy could walk up to here and shoot something at me still, right? So like,
Maybe have a second ring that's inside the white one, representing the furthest melee range they can make.
You need
Oh,
two.
No,
to get to the point where we're telling the player how to play.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a line between giving the person enough information to make good decisions, and then all of a sudden you've gone so far as you're playing the game for them. So we got to be careful not to hit that point. Like, you may not know that that character has a ranged attack. That's something that if we're not displaying information about them, that you may have to learn about that character. That's one of our better menus.
Yeah, this is a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So we just have to be careful.
I guess
So-
it would be accurate anyways if there's objects in the way.
It would be cool to just attack him, right click and attack him if I wanted to.
The problem with that is that now the game is now choosing where you walk to in order to do that.
I see that. Good point.
Now,
I'm okay with leaving that off then.
we absolutely can. But it's a matter of now, are people going to be upset with me because I chose where to walk them to? They're like, well, they walked to a stupid spot. And then my guy got killed, and here's your bad review. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. So that's why it doesn't. But we absolutely can do it.
I like how the action points light up based on where you're going above the character's head too, so it can kind of give you like the red point disappears and it gives you your action point. That's good. That's really well done. I'm so much more overpowered than these guys.
Now, these guys are pathetic, and they're pathetic on purpose. You
Yeah.
almost can't lose this fight. You have to try to lose this fight.
I can use arcane. Yeah. I hit
I
him.
lost this fight.
You lost this fight, Kyle?
Yeah, I got fire resisted 6 times in a row. And I also only brought 3 people.
I mean, you could melee them to death with your mage.
Oh. I also spent my talent points really bad too, apparently, so.
I don't even ever put them in for this one. But, like, it's not supposed to be a fight that you lose.
I got real unlucky, that's all. I doubt that would ever happen again if I did it.
And I'm not hearing the game sound through your stream, Corey. Is there a reason for that?
I might have it really low.
It's like non-existent, I think.
You can autoplay?
You can auto-calc the battle that you're going to take more damage than you probably would.
What do you mean? Wait, what does that mean? I haven't even tried that.
So it will take in all the information about the fight and then decide whether you win or lose based on what's left.
So I could just hit that and end the match.
You absolutely can.
It's gonna tell me I lost. Watch.
I won't, but, it's just designed so that if you're in a fight that's pathetically awful and you don't want to deal with it, that's experience bar, not your character's health.
Yep.
Make sure you take that sword.
Yeah. So we can probably. This is the typical ending screen, right?
Well, it's the beginnings of one. Needs quite a lot of polish.
They're dancing.
Yeah, dude, they're doing the floss. They want. They're happy.
Cool. Oh, and then you have to actually take it, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Is there like a warning if you hit finish without taking the item that you have rewards left?
I don't remember, but I wouldn't try it with that sword. Otherwise, you're killing the play. I would do it with the next that sword. You're designed to have that sword, so I think there is, Kyle, but I'm not positive. It's been a long time.
Lots of improvements we can do here.
Last 2 playthroughs.
I'm just gonna skip by this because I'm sure we could have
There's a million things to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Beryl, I'm 90% sure that it's there. I just don't want Corey not to have the sword for the playthrough. So on his next one, we can test that with less important gear.
See, so my party, I need to check their health. It's good to see your. I got a new guy talking to me now.
I feel like the text box should probably be bigger, width-wise.
Probably.
What do you think about specific? Will we ever have 2 dialogue menus on the screen at one time?
I don't think so. Not with the current system.
So the dialogue versus tips, we probably want to distinguish a little bit.
Beryl, you have limited inventory, and some of the items are just garbage, and you don't want to deal with leaving them later, and that's why.
What if we locked the text? Well, not necessarily locked, but made the default opening position for the text the bottom center.
What were you talking about? I'm sorry, I was reading Beryl.
Oh, for the text log, or the text menu there. What if we just made the default starting position bottom center, made it vertically shorter and a lot wider?
What are we trying to solve? What's the problem?
It floating around like that feels a little weird to me, I think, because it's dialogue, and I guess I feel like in every RPG I've ever played, the dialogue menu has a set spot when someone's talking to you.
And what if it's trying to point to something on the screen that's below it?
Ah, never mind. Okay, that's a good
That would
reason.
be the only counter I have for you.
That's a good one, though.
Otherwise, I don't dislike it. I mean, top center is where it starts. But Corey moved it over there, so now it's over there.
Yeah.
So
I have trouble moving. So what, like here?
That's where Kyle's essentially saying.
I was thinking bottom center, but I mean, too.
Bottoms. I don't know. I tend to ignore the bottom of my screen pretty hard on a lot of things. So
when I think of like an RPG or a fantasy game, well, pretty much any RPG, when you're talking to someone, I just think of the text box being at the bottom, like where you would type, or a little icon on the left. I don't know. Maybe it's just the games like RPGs I've played. I don't think it's like that though.
I think of it being at the top, so that's interesting. I wonder why we're having a different
I
reaction.
play a lot of JRPGs. Maybe it's a Japanese RPG thing. That's almost always where Final Fantasy puts the text, I think, if I remember correctly. Oh, it depends on the Final Fantasy game. They move it around. Oh, shoot.
What? Oh, what?
I don't remember Final Fantasy putting the text on the bottom. Not at least
I just realized that it depends. It depends on which one you look at. If you look at the old ones, I think it is at the bottom, but like 7, it moves around. In 9, it moves around. 10, it's back at the bottom. It's different. I just remembered it.
So like in a fight, when Final Fantasy is during a fight and they're talking, it's at the top. At least for the older ones that I'm looking at. When you're talking to somebody, it's at the top. When you're outside.
Is it? Okay. I thought it was the bottom. Why do I think it's at the bottom? Oh, in the remake of 4, it's at the bottom. But in the older ones, it's at the... What the heck? Why would they change that?
No, I think it's always at the top. I'm seeing it at the top. In the remake and the old one.
How do I drop links in the chat for this Discord?
Just
I'm looking at the DS.
go to the chat window and the general chat that we have, and you can drop them there.
Oh, the general chat?
It's above our current chat channel.
There's also a link. It's the screenshot from the DS remake of Final Fantasy IV, and they put the text at the bottom.
So real quick right here, he's out of range for me to even test what his range is then? Is that what's going on?
Headset cut out again, sorry. So I don't know what you said, Corey. I saw you talking, but
Yeah, so right here on my screen, I'm out of range to even check his range, it seems like then. So you can only be within range to check his range. The enemies.
that's not what's supposed to happen. How's that?
Okay.
How about the other one? Can you check the other one? Maybe he's bugged.
No.
Okay.
It hovers him.
That's incorrect, so
Like in the top it hovers him, but it doesn't do the outline in the bottom, so.
definitely a bug there. That's Final Fantasy 3.
What, that I linked?
Yeah.
Oh, it says Final Fantasy IV, which should be 4, I think, right, in Roman numerals?
Right next to the image, well, at least the image I'm seeing. The top one. That image is from Final Fantasy 3. I don't know those characters.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry, but
But then later on there is one that has some stuff at the bottom. Okay.
I think it's because those were the last games last time I played, like really played a Final Fantasy was the remakes on DS 3 and 4.
All right. So let's finish this battle, and then we'll probably call it for today on the stream. I would think. I think we have something like 30 new issues to deal with.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes, because it needs to get better. No, because it's a lot of work. But yeah, I think we brought up a lot of good points here, and yeah.
That was a retaliate attack.
Yep.
I
So
assume.
they have one retaliation per turn, unless they're talented otherwise.
Do we want to put some notification being like retaliate attack, like float above their head when they do it or something?
When there's a combat log put in, it'll say it in there.
Ah, okay.
So on cooldown, tried to use
Yeah.
energy blast.
No, I forgot Frostbolt was 2. I can like trap this guy, can't I?
It is possible to trap them. It takes a little bit more surrounding than you might otherwise think, but it is possible.
Here we go. Let's find out. Are you sure you want to leave those items behind?
Yeah. So like I said, I was pretty sure there was something, but
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure.
Cool. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to do. But anyway, we'll try to have these every week, 2 weeks, month, something like that. We'll get into a flow.
I
Right.
think personally I'd like to see every week, but not quite this long. Like this is much longer than I think they normally will go, but I just think there's so much to cover right now. I think maybe a couple weeks that these will be longer than shorter.
Do we want to structure specific mechanics or areas of the game we should maybe focus on the stream beforehand?
I can barely hear you, Kyle.
Do we maybe want to make it so that the stream we have planned specific areas for now to make it a little more structured? Like
Eventually, yes. Right now, I just want to scattershot it because there's so much. If we try to just cover 1 or 2 topics, we'll be doing it for 10 years. Because I mean, we covered like 40 things today. So, yes, Kyle. Eventually, I do want to get more structured with it and have one main topic and maybe a couple subtopics or minor topics, but then also still have the ability to be like, oh, I noticed that. Like sometimes have the ability to have like, I noticed this, so talk about that too. I don't want it to be completely locked down to a topic, but.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Barrow, and everybody else. See you next week.
Thank you for the input. See you guys.